And hello there. Welcome to
Well,
Just Serve TV. Hello there, Linda Kenny Baden.
hello there, Michael Bryan. I don't mind me. I was just rocking to the music, and somebody posted, well, they liked our music, our theme song, because they were of that age. And I don't know what age they're of.
I
Quite
mean,
frankly, I just thought it
it's
was so
reggae
interesting.
music from Ziggy Marley. I don't know.
I had no idea.
Is that an insult? Is that I don't know what that means, but it seems appropriate, and we'll keep using it till we're sued. Okay, so YSL, you can just sense it's winding down today. Another handful of interesting witnesses. Well, really one interesting witness, and then some peripheral cell phone guy and some other folks. So, what do you think? Do you think they're going to wrap this up this week?
Well, it
Prosecution?
sounds like it. I mean, when I heard the judge actually wanted to wrap it up today, apparently, but that's not to be done. They
They just
expect to.
finished at 6:25.
Right, and
For the
that was
last hour, they were
exhibits,
going
right?
through junk. What was that?
That was exhibits for that's gonna be entered through Detective Viverito, I
Yeah.
think it
Yes.
is,
Viverito. Hey,
and another excuse me, another
Paisan.
okay, everybody no, wait a second.
Oh,
Jeez, he's been after my rate. Michael, my people, okay?
is he
My people,
Italian? I don't know.
okay?
Is he
I have
Italian?
no idea. Nor do I care, but if you're gonna I mean, you thought it was, but I was saying I was gonna throw it out to our viewers to say, what kind of expert is he supposedly? Again, anyone take a guess? Okay, I'll answer for you.
Yeah.
A gang expert. A
Okay.
gang expert. I mean, talk about shall we say watering down what an expert is? I mean, a gang expert now?
Well, this is their big finish. This is the big crescendo. This is the big ta-da. And
Wow.
then and
Wow.
then and then we'll see what the defense happens to do. Hopefully, we'll hear from Doug the end of this week. We don't know. It's obvious it's a crazy time.
He's a little bit
So
busy, and the other thing is, remember we were actually going to and you and I spent a lot of time going through the plea agreement, which we have ready to do at some point, right? Of Jeffrey Williams and
yes,
the final disposition to wrap that up. But then today, all of a sudden, while we were busy doing that, out came Judge Whitaker with some surprise. Michael, what was it?
well, I think it's maybe best just to watch it, and then we can talk about it afterwards. Again, this is Judge Page. She's on the bench really before most of the day's activities began.
Yeah, Paige Whitaker, right?
Yes, I call her Paige. We're tight
I
now.
know you're like this.
We're so tight now. So
You've been
now
in that courtroom. You've been in that courtroom.
yeah, and she kept me as far away as I could possibly be. Okay, here we go.
I just need to add something important to the record. And Your Honor, I appreciate the attempts to craft a curative instruction.
Yeah.
I just want to be clear, very clear on behalf of Mr. Stillwell on the record that while we do appreciate those attempts, we are not waiving any appellate issues regarding the admission of these convictions.
Understood, and it may very well be that we get through this whole trial, and if there is a conviction, that it gets reversed because of things that occurred before I was ever involved. And, if that's what happens, that's what happens. I'm just, at this point, trying to, where there may have been something that could have been handled differently, try to the extent possible to remedy it now so that when they are deliberating, to the extent possible, they're deliberating, understanding what it is they can and can't consider. But I understand that, and your objections are reserved and preserved on that issue.
I appreciate that, Your Honor, and also just I know we have the Harvey rule, but just as a belt and suspenders, we have similar stances.
Okay.
All right, then. So you can just sense the desperation, aspiration in the judge's voice. What do you think about, kind of foreshadowing her opinion about this case?
Desperation, aspiration, preserved, reserved. It sounds like that my group here that we're on with have watched the YSL trial so long, we've become rappers. What do I think? I think she thinks it's going to get reversed. And she just threw, or she just built, or she just had in her courtroom, as I said, the biggest double-decker, double-length bus. And you know who's under it right now, Michael?
Glanville?
Judge Glanville. She threw him under the judge's bus.
Well, you have to remember that for 3.5, almost 4 months now, she's been stuck with every ridiculous ruling that he has issued in this case, out of deference, out of maybe orders that she was given prior to sitting in that seat. We don't know. But everything involving lyrics, everything involving anything that was questionably admissible, inadmissible. She inherited all of that mess. And you could tell when she was dealing with one of the issues that had been previously litigated, she basically just said, we're not going to relitigate that. We're not going to relitigate that. She was stuck with him. And now here she is sitting there saying, okay, I might have been stuck with that stuff, but that doesn't mean any conviction is going to stick.
Yeah, no, I think it sounds like she thinks it's going to get reversed. But the problem if it gets reversed, then what happens to all those people that took pleas that were in the trial? Do they then come back and say, because if there is a conviction, and that's a big if, do they come back and say undo my terms of probation that I'm on for 15 years because I should have been in that reversal? I guess not, because then they'd have to go back to retrial. It'd be a big mess.
Yeah, it'd be I'm sorry, too bad. You made your deal, you're stuck with it now. So
although when we get to that and discuss all that, that people can come back, just for our viewers, people can come back who have been given a sentence and come back and ask to be resentenced, a la the Menendez brothers, which is out there.
Talk about an extreme example. Why don't you come back in about 35 years? We'll talk about this again, all right? So you're right. Anything is possible. Let's do this before we jump into some of the excitement from today's witness, Obama, Mr. Antonio Sumlin. Let's just refocus what's left on the table here for these two defendants that are still in the courtroom. As for Diamante Kendrick, our buddy Doug Weinstein's client, count 1, the RICO claim, and count 2, a murder claim, which I believe relates to Donovan Thomas. That's it. That's it for him. That's all that's on the table. Shannon Stillwell, of course, Max Shart's client, has the same top 2. First count, RICO. Second count, murder. But he has count 49 as well, a second murder count, which I believe relates to Drinks, Mr. Drinks. He has count 50, participation in a street gang, and count 51, the exact same charge. So different overt acts, same charges, doubled up. And also 52, charged with possession of a firearm by a felon, and 54, possession of a firearm during a felony. So that would relate back to what? Oh, predicate acts. Good thing they had a cop on there to talk about them. The predicate act would be, one of those murders for which they've been charged.
Yes, the cop
using a gun.
The cop yesterday, to remind people that didn't watch, they asked, what are you? I'm laughing so hard I can't even get it out. He said, what are you trained in? We're trained in investigating predicate acts.
So, I guess it's a whole, RICO subunit of some sort, or maybe just bad programming by the prosecution on this witness. That could be the biggest problem. Don't tell them what you're working on in that sense, but truly they are predicates, but don't say that. Okay, so that's where these guys stand. That's what the jury's going to have to deal with. So when you look at that, by comparison, relatively small series of charges. You got 2, 4, 6. You got 7 against Stillwell, 2 against Diamante Kendrick. I don't know. It just, when it comes down to deliberation, it should make the process a whole lot easier, I would think.
Yeah, I think so, especially since when we talk about Doug's client today with some of the clips we have, we're going to see why as to his client it could be very easy.
Okay, so let's start with, let's just get into some of the testimony from Obama Sumlin, okay? Antonio Obama Sumlin. A lot of it I couldn't understand. I'll be right up front. I don't know. I'm far too white, I guess. I don't know. The phone call I could not figure out, but hopefully this will help. We're going to play just a touch of that phone call, and then the follow-up direct examination by Ms. Hilton.
And the phone call is what?
The phone call is between the witness, Mr. Obama, and Edgington. Was that the guy's name?
Epperidge, I think it is.
Eppinger.
Sorry,
one of the boys.
Yeah.
Oh, and it's important to note with Obama here, he is the last former co-defendant to testify in this case. So all of that parade of characters has ended with him. So let me see if I can pull that up here, and we'll see. First of all, again, this is the end of, I think as I've got it queued up here, it's the end of the phone conversation, and then some of the conversation about stabbing somebody, and do you need permission for that?
First, where is this picture taken?
Cleveland Avenue Park.
Okay, this is, and I'm going to skip ahead here. This is just,
And
we're
the
going to look at,
clothing that you're wearing, what is it?
we're going to look at a bunch of the tattoo pictures because I have those here as well. But before we get there, I want to jump into this phone call.
What does massa? Does that say massa on your pants leg?
Here.
Yes.
What does that stand for?
I think make America slime again.
Okay. Yeah, and then we get into kind of the analysis of all these tattoos. He's got one or two of them you may have noticed. In fact, what he's wearing today is probably one of the few things that would cover up all of his tattoos.
Yeah, we'll talk about those when
It's
you,
almost
when you
his
show
entire-
the skin.
It's almost his entire body.
Eppinger was in jail.
Okay.
All right, got now. Yeah, that's so. Who right there with the cash up, man? One day I got cash up. I got cash up. I ain't got nothing on the right now, baby. Oh, man. Yeah. So, girl, tell her to lock me in. As soon as I get some more cash up, I see you some. All right, so. All right, bro. Love y'all. I love you back, bro.
And we'll stop playing at 11:18 into the call. My first, do you know why Mr. Eppinger was in jail?
Allegedly.
Were you aware of a shooting of a police officer on Cleveland Avenue in February of 2022?
Yes, I heard about it.
And did you have any knowledge if Mr. Eppinger was a part of that shooting?
I know he was arrested for it.
Now, on that call, Mr. Eppinger reached out to you to get permission to stab Lucci?
I mean, yeah, he called me. Yes, he called me.
Do you know why he would have to call to get permission to stab Lucci?
I mean, that's another conversation. I left where it was. I never took the next step to reach out to nobody to try to hurt nobody. I just idle conversation. I was just talking to be talking. I didn't.
I understand. My question is though, do you know why he would have to get permission to go stab Lucci?
He ain't got to get permission. He a grown man. He can do what he want to do.
So why was he calling you to get permission?
Sustained.
Yeah, I think Michelle's right. Michelle says he's nervous. He is nervous. He was a little more emotional than I expected. What do you think?
Yeah, he was more emotional than I expected, but I also think he's emotional because he figured, how do I, he's not little Woody, okay? He's already got a violation against him to revoke his probation.
They're definitely holding that over his head. You're right.
Holding that over his head, right?
His deal was, his probation was, it had some weird stuff in it. Can you believe this? He had a curfew. His curfew is 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. What are the odds that's going to hold?
Right.
Unless he's attending school, going to work, or has a medical emergency. But I thought was interesting as it relates to his testimony here. He did not give up the right to take the fifth.
Right, but he didn't take it.
He did not, but
right.
he had that in his arsenal there. So anyway, he's talking about somebody stabbing Lucci.
Right.
Lucci is another one of the guys.
The defendants, right? One of the co-defendants, right?
To be honest, I don't know. I don't know.
Or
if
it could
Lucci
be.
is or not.
He may not be. Okay, but I
Okay.
thought it was best summed up. There was somebody I sent to you actually before the show went on, who I really try to get people to come on here. LKEMEFUPA on X Twitter. It says, "quote Damn. So some guy not on trial, so he's not a co-defendant, called the state's witness and plotted on some third guy not on trial." And nobody involved talked to either of the two defendants on trial. and the two people on trial had nothing to do with it. Boy, RICO's a great law, ain't it? So he wasn't a defendant. So you're right. So there's some kind. He's calling to try to suggest, or the prosecutors try to suggest, that he needed to get permission, or Eppinger needed to get permission from Slime, who was Jeffrey Williams, also known as Dolly.
But as to this particular witness, let's assume that's true. Let's assume it's true.
But he never.
So what?
That was it. So what? That's it. So what as to even Jeffrey Williams? But then, wait a second. There's two people sitting down. What are their names down there, Mike?
I don't know. Hasn't come up yet. Okay, let's continue with some more of his testimony.
When he was asking for permission, who did he want you to reach out to?
I don't know. I said I put some in the. I know. I just replied like I put some in a couple people's ears. So.
Who were the couple people's ears that you were going to put something into?
Nobody.
Okay.
Now, do you notice that little exchange? He's talking about not saying yes or no, you can stab Lucci, but he had put something in a couple of other people's ears, meaning, as I understand it, do some bad things to a couple other people. When she said to who, he said nobody. Nobody. Nothing to see here.
When he says that I've been trying to get Dolly so I can talk to Slime, who's Dolly?
Mr. Williams have a sister named Dolly.
Okay. And then who is Slime?
To my in the car, I guess he referring when he said that. I guess he put Slime and Dolly in the same sentence, so I just assumed he was talking about Mr. Williams.
Now that is as close as it gets to connecting a former defendant to what's going on here. I just assume he's talking about Williams. Okay, well,
because he's talking about his sister. Right.
What's that?
Because he's talking about his sister, who's named Dolly, and get Dolly to. Okay.
And again, if you're trying to tie this all together, the prosecution still at this point is using this, basket approach. Throw it all in the basket, and then anybody near the basket, touching the basket, involved with the basket, is guilty of a RICO violation. Okay, right. Here we go.
Did you tell us who Slime was in that call when you took your plea?
Can I see the plea? Sure.
So you again, page 420 BV. I'm gonna direct you to page 3 of 6, and you can just read this to yourself first.
What
number are we on?
We're gonna look at number 11.
But they said it.
You said probably, I assume. I'm asking you, who was it?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what he said at first.
What did he say? I didn't hear it either. I think he said, I just told you that or something. Did you get it, ma'am?
I said I just told you. I just told her who.
Did you say you assumed who it was, or was it Slime?
I just, from the conversation, I just put 2 and 2 together. He put Slime and Dolly in the same sentence, so I just figured he was talking about Mr. Williams. I never.
When you said you were going to pull up to the yo, what were you referring to?
I was talking about the studio, but I was lying.
And when you were lying, what were you telling him you were going to pull up to the studio and do?
I probably was saying to yo just to make him think that I was going to pull up on Mr. Williams, but I never really going to pull up on Mr. Williams. I never going to go ask him that like that. I don't even know if they know each other, so I know I wasn't going to go ask him that like that.
Did you tell him, or did he tell you that he just needed a lawyer for that?
Yes, he said that in the car.
And did you tell him that would be a big fee if you get that?
I was just talking, man. I was just...
Now, in that call, did you also say that Funk just pulled off?
Yes, I think I said that in the call.
Who is Funk?
Who is Funk?
Yes.
Funk.
Okay. And is on phone also Mr. Williams' brother?
Yes.
Okay, he's actually squirming. He's
Yeah.
physically squirming in his seat there when asked for some specifics on some of these peripheral characters, including Jeffrey Williams and Jeffrey Williams' brother. So again, if you take a step back, considering who's left in the defense chairs, the charges that we've talked about, how is this getting us any closer? Unless
that's right.
you count on the big basket. I'm going to call it the big basket theory, because I don't think you're getting there without that kind of connection.
Yeah. I don't get it either, except that, it's interesting. If they had called him maybe early on, right, early on, maybe the case would have shaped up differently, but they didn't. And by the way, other people that are missing besides evidence is Miss Love. You notice that she wasn't in that courtroom.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
She's no longer cares.
Yeah,
about the
no longer
case.
cares. And what does that send the message to the jury? I don't care because I only cared about Jeffrey Williams. As they're
You don't care. We don't care.
Yeah, you don't care. We don't care. And he's nervous because look, he knows that Monk got how many years for his violation of his probation
5.
for some ridiculous was
5
it a
years.
shoplifting or something charge?
Yeah, for the
Something.
violation. Yeah,
For the violation.
5 years.
So he's sitting there thinking, I've been out for 2 years, right? What is she going to do to me? And he was squirming. He is squirming. Also, let's assume this is a gang, okay? Let's give the prosecution the benefit of the doubt, even if they haven't proven it. I mean, he's in the old proverbial words, if he turns on anybody now, is the old-fashioned, and we used to use it, my people's, snitch.
The snitch.
Yeah.
And that's really anybody who took a plea has been labeled a snitch. It just like automatically.
Right. Except for Jeffrey Williams.
Yeah, that's right. And so, he's got a reason to be concerned. I would think, though, that after 2 years, he's probably in better shape than, how do you survive 2 years if somebody really wants to take you out?
Well, it was interesting because somebody posted on social media that the terms of his probation agreement, his plea agreement, what he pled to, had not been made public, that it was sealed. Okay, now I don't know if that was Glanville or not, and I don't know if this is true, and I want our viewers to check us that it was sealed until today. You didn't know that YSL Obama was possibly a snitch, okay, in some ways, that there was that he may have pled guilty to some other stuff. So that would be interesting if that's why they held him to the end and didn't reveal his plea. Now, I don't know, but because it's still like at this point, you're still feeling a little, I'm feeling coerced. I don't know you, but I'm feeling coerced. I'm sitting here in New York City, you know?
Let's look at some of the tattoo work. Because again, remember the goal here is to create the concept that this is a gang. So a gang has symbols that they share. In this case, quite a few tattoos. This is the upper body, and there's really not a lot of space left for a Justice Served logo.
Near the top, above the breasts, there's a YSL, a huge YSL.
Yeah, right. And that was, a lot of these he said he got from prison. I have to admit, I'm a little impressed. Because my vision of a prison tattoo far more kind of cryptic than that. So he's got that right down the breastbone, and then let me move on through the tattoo library here.
Prison tattoos are usually black because they're using some type of breakdown of charcoal products and all.
Yeah, they probably don't have all of the fancy stuff. This is one of his arms. This, I believe, is his right arm. And you can see it says Slime Life, right? Is that what it says? Slime Life?
Yep, Slime Life, right.
Okay. And then is that the one that has a snake above it? Or snakes above it.
Right.
Okay. And he was asked the significance of that, and there really wasn't an answer. There really, so I don't know. Is it because they don't put a lot of thought into it, and we know there is the snake connected with the various slime
I think
logos?
She was right. I think that she was trying to get it. And he just said, "I don't know."
Yeah,
I don't know.
We know the default position is I don't know.
It was more like I don't know.
Okay, so let me see. I think we got one more. Oh, it was
Yeah.
this one was even on his hand, I believe, which is a whole crazy different thing. Take a look at this. See, there's the 5, and this had to do with him being a blood back when
Yeah.
he was first getting into the whole gang thing. So again,
And
let's look at
wearing the red colors. That's what she asked him what he was arrested in, right?
right.
Yeah. Now let me just. I digress. Okay. Can you put up the first picture of his
Oh
chest?
my God.
Okay.
let me see it.
He picked me, but you know what? I do get not guilties from my clients, so I kind of have a little history of this. You know?
Okay, let's see if I can find the chest. The
All right, let me
chesty.
see.
There we go. Okay.
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 Let me bring you back to a little case I had called Aaron Hernandez, who was tattered all over his body. Let me tell you, and they put up all the tattoos of Aaron, with all, and it backfired on him because they had a gun tattoo, but they didn't realize that the gun was backwards, and if you went to shoot it, there was, it was a mess. The state, they got themselves, we objected, like please let us lose this objection. Right? Yeah. Some of the things I heard leaving the court was like, oh, he's so fine. You put up a body like that, okay? You put up a body like that, and I'm not being sexist here, in front of a jury or anybody. There's not many people in the courtroom. And that's what sometimes or people watch it, and that's what you get. Not everyone's going to say, well, let me go look at that YSL there, right there. I don't know if we can enlarge it. I guess not. In the beginning.
No, I thought I could,
Yeah.
and apparently I can't.
Okay. And they say, God, that man be fine. Okay. And they're not thinking about the evidence. So I don't know.
No, and that's telling. I mean, I've told stories many times about, if you're lucky enough to get to talk to jurors after a verdict, it's shocking the stuff that you hear they focused on that has nothing to do with the merits of the case, your client, your presentation, the other side's presentation, and generally it means they've checked out. At that whatever point they're checked out. They're ready to get the damn thing done.
That's right. Thank you, pretty eyes. Come defend me when somebody in social media attacks me for thinking that I'm liking a body picture of a defendant. But I just want to tell you, there's alternative issues that you have to think about when you try these cases, and that is one of them.
Yeah, I was looking for. This is weird, but I couldn't help but notice his underwear. So
Michael Bryan just beat me.
There it is. PSD underwear. Yeah, there you go. You can get a 3-pack. You can get a 3-pack for $60. So if you're looking for some PSD underwear.
Oh lordy! Oh lordy! What have we become? We're
just doing a little fashion segment. That's all.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I have fashion here. You notice that I have a hat. It says "Justice delayed, justice denied." So I have a little fashion in my repertoire here.
That looks like the hat that the Upper East Side juror in the Penny case might come to court in.
Actually, it was a gift because it does have justice delayed. It was handmade for me, justice denied, and it was a gift for somebody because of my true belief in making sure people's rights are protected, like it or not.
And a nice token. Okay.
I once had a pair. I once was given a pair of sneakers actually by a case that I won by my client, won in a case, and she gave me a pair of sneakers hanging up, and you'll never get this one. Okay, all of you will never get this one. Okay.
Okay. Challenge accepted. Go.
You had them by the sneakers. That was a euphemism.
Oh yeah.
So I kept those in my office for many years, and then they disintegrated. Okay.
All right. I like that. Okay, so I think we should listen to a little bit of our defense team, and I think the overall direct examination for Mr. Obama, or Obama as I like to call him, was maybe an hour, give or take. So obviously cross-exam, much more surgical, right? You're going to get in, you're going to get out, and so what we've got here is both Doug Weinstein, Friat Gotti, and Max Shart. I'm going to let them roll. We may stop in between the two to discuss a couple of items, but I think in the short time they did these presentations.
Halloween night in Rockford,
Oh, I got the wrong one.
Much as it was.
No, I remember that story. Remember that story? Remember that story? That was a great story.
It was I'm thinking Rockford Files when I see that.
We'll see that one again next Halloween. Let's see if I can find the right file here. That's supposed to be the right file.
Yeah, here comes drama. I thought, yeah, the way they talked to
Good
Obama,
afternoon,
why
Mr. Sumner.
whoops, I better stop.
My name is Doug Weinstein. I represent Diamante Kendrick. I believe you said earlier you know him as Yak Gotti, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm just going to refer to him as Yak Gotti when I talk about him.
Yes.
Okay. There was some discussion earlier about a phone call between you and Polo, Mr. Dorsey. You remember that conversation?
Yes, sir.
And you were saying that you just kind of say, when someone asks you to do something about this particular issue, you just say yes, yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Why do you just say yes, yes, yes?
I mean,
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
I was just having idle conversation. Like, I never took the next step there.
So sometimes when you're having a phone call
Yes.
between someone in jail, someone not in the jail,
Yes.
you'll just say whatever, yes, 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 just to get off the phone. Is that right?
Yes.
Just to have idle conversation and move on.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about this plea that you took for a minute. That plea that you took, it required you to stay away from the other defendants in this case. Do you recall that?
Yes.
So you can't have contact with any other defendants that were in the same indictment as you, correct?
Correct.
Now, you're accused in this indictment of trying to harm Rayshawn Bennett, YFN Lucci, correct?
Yes, sir.
And you're also accused of this indictment of trying to harm Harold Clements, correct?
Yes, sir.
Are you required to stay away from them in this plea deal that you took?
I mean,
Or let me take that back. Would you be surprised, if I can have you look at it if you'd like, would you be surprised that you're not required to stay away from them?
I wouldn't be surprised. Like, I wouldn't be surprised.
Given that you took a plea deal and that you're accused of trying to harm those two individuals, were you surprised that they didn't require you to stay away from them?
Sustained.
All right. I've got no further questions for you.
All right, Mr. Shardy.
Okay, before Max takes over there, what's Doug trying to do here, and what did he not get away with?
Well, what he was trying to do, and I'm going to go back to the examination by the prosecutor. The prosecutor asked if he knew anyone by the name of Diamante Kendrick at some point. That's Doug's client, right? Diamante Kendrick. And, YSL Obama kind of like said, nickname, please. And she said, Yak Gotti. She said, and then she said, how long have you known him? Maybe 4, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years, maybe 4, just kind of like maybe. And that was it. That's all you had. Okay. So I think that by showing that he had him in jail with no bail, then he takes a plea, they let him out. They don't prohibit him from going near the people he supposedly was a threat and a danger to. Means this is all, excuse my technical term.
Here it comes.
Bullshit. Okay. This is all bullshit for some cause, maybe to get Jeffrey Williams, but certainly, all that Yak Gotti is now is a victim of that.
Yeah. I'm going to answer as best I can a quick question that I saw zooming by and had to do with Marissa Viverito, who's going to be back on the stand tomorrow, the detective. She testified back in 2023 in October, way back at a, as I like to call it, Dolbert hearing. Some call it the Dolbert hearing. I call it Dolbert because it's kind of French derivation.
It's Dolbert.
Not if you're Mr. Dolbert and you live in Paris. So anyway,
but if you're Mr. Dolbert and live in the United States, whose case it was, it's Dolbert.
So so that took place back in October, and it's a hearing to determine whether whatever the science, whatever the subject matter is they want to get admitted into evidence meets the standard of whatever it may be in the scientific relevant scientific community, has the indicia of reliability. It used to be called the Kelly standard long ago in California. It was the Kelly Fry standard. That's now been replaced by isn't Dilbert the cartoon? Oh, not the Dilbert standard, the Dobert standard. So anyway, she has been in the building, and there's going to be lots of exhibits. They fought about them for at least an hour and a half today, and you'll never guess what they are: rap videos and some other lyrics.
Oh, lyrics again.
A lot of them. And the Judge Whitaker kept saying, do we really need to see that? And can you just, ask a question about it? Do we have to watch that? Do we have to listen to that? So, she did throw some things out. There's no doubt about it. But it's far too much that's coming in. And as I think of this case, when you think of it,
yeah, go ahead.
when you think of a case, it's a show, right? It's a performance. And you want to come to a big finish. You don't want it to be limping, like this death march to conclusion. And that's how I feel this case is going. But that's not a surprise.
But I have a question for you then, okay? You mentioned her that she some of it's not coming in. We've heard it all. You know that she probably disagrees with a lot of the rap lyric rulings that Glanville had.
Mm-hmm.
And someone asked a pointed question to me, which I had retweeted on my Twitter account, and I've invited them to come into here. I don't know if they're here, about doesn't she have an ethical obligation not to submit an unproven case to the jury? She states it's going to be reversed on appeal. So why would you subject somebody to getting possibly convicted if you know it's going to be reversed because it's reversible error? And I think the same question goes to the rap lyrics. If she thinks that it's reversible, why is she allowing it in, Michael?
She's really put herself in an interesting position here to be so open and honest, but I think that just tells you how frustrated she is with this whole process. Can you imagine if there were still 6 co-defendants and we're still clunking along with that pace? There's no remedy, as I understand what the question seems to be, but it puts her in a bizarre position where she is almost suggesting to these attorneys, maybe more than almost, that just finish this case because it's a loser. And even if there is a conviction, it's going to come back on appeal. Now, that doesn't help your clients who are going to continue to sit in jail or prison while the appeal moves through the process. But that's how she feels. That's legitimately how she feels. It's just unfortunate that by telling folks that, and I mean us, everybody, they start to think, well, that's wrong. I mean, how can she not just put the brakes on this case if that's how she feels? And she can't do that.
Yeah, well, yeah, she can't do that because she's part of the system, and the system doesn't really allow her to do that, right? She's not going to go back into the judge's room and all, and all. But so I mean, I just wonder. Although is she signaling if there's a conviction that she may give these two, if there's a conviction anyway, she may give them probation in some way, since everybody else is on probation?
I guess that's very possible. She has wide discretion. We know, though, if there is a RICO violation, technically it's 5-year minimum, but well, what happens if she gives them less than 5? What happens then? Or it says time served. Just
time served, right?
Yeah.
And time served. I'm giving the rest on probation or house arrest or something. Or I don't know. I don't know what the Georgia requires. It's a good question we can ask Doug. He's going to say I'm not going to consider that because I think we're winning.
We're walking.
That's what he. That's how he felt. And quite frankly, his cross-examination was the kind of cross-examination you do at the end of a long trial when your client has not been mentioned at all, and you say, excuse me, Mr. Witness or Miss Witness or Mrs. Witness or whatever you want to call the witness. You see that person over there? Did you say anything about that except that you've known him for 2 years? Or you know him for about 2 years? You know his name for about 2 years? No, thank you. And you sit down because it's
of course. Of course. That's why I wondered where he was going. Seemed to belabor. You didn't even need it, and then he got shut down in terms of there was an objection which was sustained, and he decided to just head out. But you know how it is, perception. I don't want to end with an objection that's sustained, and I have to wander back to my seat. I want to end, with at least a little victory. Okay, let's listen now to more. This is Max Shard, of course, Mr. Stillwell's attorney. He's got a little more to say. Interesting.
Questions?
Yes, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Mr. Sumlin, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We've never spoken before, have we?
Never.
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 Okay. Well, my name is Max Shard. I represent Shannon Stillwell. Okay. And the first thing that interested me, you said that you have known Shannon for 20 to 25 years.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I know you said you were born on Cleveland Avenue. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
Okay. At some point, did you move in your childhood?
No, I never had no brothers, so I went to school in the Thomasville and Four Seasons area with my cousin.
Okay. So you went to school in Thomasville and Four Seasons.
Yes, I went to Thomasville Elementary and I went to Price Elementary. I mean Price Middle.
Okay. In Thomasville, that's it. Those are in the Thomasville Heights community, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that's where you met Shannon.
Yes, sir.
Through going to school, and we're talking about elementary school, right?
Yes, sir.
You met him in elementary school in the Thomasville Heights neighborhood, which is separate from Cleveland Avenue.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you've known Shannon for some time.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know Shannon's grandmother, Miss Betty?
No, I can't say I know his
Okay.
grandma.
Did you know him to be raised by his grandmother? Do you know that?
I didn't have personal. I never, we just see each other outside like little kids. Like I never asked him about.
Okay, fair enough. So you never been to his house, and he's
No,
never
I
been to
know.
your house or anything like
No.
that. You just knew him.
Yeah, I just know him.
Okay. Have you ever tried to rap?
Middle school.
Okay. And as
Okay, listen to this because it's interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting perception of somebody from the neighborhood, and you talked about Cleveland Avenue. That is the hood there, and that's where a lot of the alleged criminal activity, has occurred. But here he is. This is a guy that's grade school with Shannon Stillwell. I mean, you know how these grade school kids are. They're always in a gang. But Obama's take on the music business and success of those who try to rap just from the neighborhood. Listen to this.
growing up, as part of your friendship with Mr. Williams,
Yes.
okay, friendship with, do you have a friendship with Mr. Kendrick? Is that fair to say?
I mean, we cordial. We speak.
Okay. Do you know other hip hop artists besides those two?
Somebody from the area or just
In Atlanta. Do you know Mooney Lee?
What's his real name? I mean, what's his slang? I mean, what's his?
Slime Life Shorty.
Yeah.
So you know Miss Slime Life Shorty?
Yes.
Okay. Have you been to studios before?
Yes.
Have you seen people making music?
Yes.
Do you follow music?
Yes.
Do you listen avidly to hip hop,
Yes.
rap?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know about drill music?
Yes.
Okay. Is drill music present in Atlanta?
Now?
Yes.
Yes, right now. That's what I was saying. Now it is.
Now it is.
Yes.
It's popular in Atlanta, correct?
Yes.
Drill music is very violent.
Yes.
Common threads of drill music. Ops. People
Yes.
talk about ops a lot.
Yes.
And that's the opposition.
Yes.
Now, when I say people talk about ops a lot, I'm not talking about YSL or YFN. Okay, I'm talking about drill music throughout the country and throughout Atlanta and throughout the country.
Yes.
They all talk about ops, don't they?
Yes.
Okay, red lights. Red lights. Stopping at red lights.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a common theme of drill music
Yes.
throughout the country, not just in Atlanta?
Yes.
Not just YSL?
No.
Not just YFN?
No.
Okay. What about glizzies? What's a glizzy?
A gun.
A gun. Is that a common theme, a common term used in drill music?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Not just YSL.
No.
Not just Atlanta.
No.
Not just YFN.
No.
Okay. How many people that you grew up with, would you say very few or a whole lot want to become rappers?
A lot. A lot.
Okay. How many people actually make it to the point that they're making money?
Only a handful.
A very small percentage?
Half.
Okay, but
Half.
that doesn't stop people from trying, does it?
What's that?
Okay, and when you've seen your friends, say Slime Life Shorty, you know Shannon to rap, don't you?
Yes.
You know him to try to make it.
Yes.
You know him to make songs that have ops in it, correct?
I mean, I know some of his songs. I can't just think
Okay,
about.
that's fair. I don't. If you don't know, you don't know. Okay, you know Shannon been trying to make it in rap,
Yes.
going to the studio, working on his craft, promoting himself, correct?
Yes.
Putting songs on YouTube,
Yes.
much like many other people that you've seen growing up. Okay.
Okay, before he wraps this thing up or gets close to it, and that's wraps with a W-R. Yeah, you know, Obama said about half people make it. Half? Are you kidding?
Less than that.
It's like an nth of a percent.
Right.
You
And
know,
that's why Williams is so popular, because he's made it, right? He's from the hood and he's made it.
and all these guys to some degree, and I mean like Lil Woody and they've had some success. There's no doubt about it. But to crawl out of the other guys and to rise above, that's as rare as it gets. But it tells you why the dream is alive, because perception is, I can rap. Come on, what's the big deal? And everybody thinks they can do it, and they think they got a shot.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Someday I'll play for you the rap song that my wall partner and I did for our sports site. Yeah, I can rap too. So
Yeah. Whoa. Okay. Well, that sounds like members only content. But
That's
we'll get back.
exactly.
We'll get back to that.
Exactly. But yeah, but he's talking about drill music also.
In
with
your
music called trap
observation,
music.
all these people that are trying to make it for these very few spots at the top, is there a competition?
What you mean by that? Like, what you mean? Like, is somebody trying to be better than a?
Yeah.
That's I can say it's a competition.
In these songs, is there a competition about who's the baddest, the
Yes.
toughest, the most violent?
Yes.
Who does the most on the street?
Yes.
Who's to be feared?
Yes.
Who has the biggest guns?
Yes.
Who's got the most bodies? You've heard that in songs, right?
Yes.
Okay, not just in Atlanta,
Worldwide.
not worldwide. Even in London, right?
Okay. I can't. just
Okay.
say that.
You're not familiar with drill music in London? Okay. All right. So these are common themes, and that's part of the competition, is what you're saying.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you've witnessed that firsthand
Yes.
with people you grew up with.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay, let me stop here. Touche, and I love that name, spelled Tooshea. Touche says, correcting me, saying he didn't say half, he said handful. A handful. I stand corrected because that's all I heard was about half. So I've got to work on my mumbling listening skills. Okay.
From observing the people that you grew up with make these boasts in their songs, are those boasts, the things that people claim they did, are those always true to your knowledge?
Sustained.
If people killed as much as they claim they do in songs, would the streets of Atlanta, the streets of this world, just be depleting of population at this point? Would there be dead bodies everywhere if everyone was really doing what they were saying?
Sustained.
Okay, I'll move on.
Point well
Let's
taken.
talk about your involvement.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you had a comment.
No, point well taken. Yeah, he got it through, even though it was objected to. There'd be dead bodies everywhere. If you took every rap music that, all the drill music that talked about, death, destruction, shooting,
That'd be so easy. You just go arrest all of those people, and you clean up the situation. The jury gets that. The jury, they get that these are just lyrics. Okay.
In this case, Mr. Sumlin, you're out, right?
Yes.
Okay. And you're happy to be out?
Yes.
Okay. Of course. Originally, you were charged with 2 conspiracies, one to murder Harold Clements with Cordarius Dorsey, one to murder, or to murder Rashawn Bennett, and you're allegedly conspired with Christian Eppinger, and then you're charged with gang activity based on the conspiracy with Christian Eppinger, and you were charged with conspiracy, I already said it, to commit murder with Mr. Dorsey, and in the RICO case.
Yes.
RICO count. And I was very inartful there, but it's 4 counts, RICO, 2 conspiracies, and a gang count, correct?
Yes.
All right. Do you remember what day you were arrested on this case, on this indictment?
May the 11th.
Okay. On May 11th of
22.
Okay, May 11th, 2022. And that's when they came to the house and took those pictures?
Yes.
Okay. At some point, you were able to, you were represented by an attorney?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you and your attorney moved for bond?
Yes.
All right. And bond is when, after you're arrested, you're able to pay money and be released while the case is pending, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when you moved for bond, the bond hearing was heard by Judge Glanville, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And at that bond hearing, the prosecutors were at their table, correct?
Yes.
And at that bond hearing,
Well, I'm going to check, so this line of questioning being relevant to the bond.
I'm inclined to sustain that. If you want to approach and discuss this, we can
approach.
do that. Why don't we take our
Okay, so let's take our break. Ultimately, Max Sharp was allowed to get into the bond hearing and some of the other details that surrounded the plea agreement. And that was, for the jury to hear this, 2 counts of conspiracy to commit murder, the gang connection, and then the RICO. All 4 of those lumped in, and he got 15 years probation and really no time served. Sounds like a sweet deal.
Come on, keep going. And
he testified. He had to testify.
And he had to testify, right, against them, and he was out just like that. He was such a danger. And then he was out just like that, but he could have contact with his victims.
Yeah, if you're a would-be victim, watch out. But if you're a friend, don't even think of getting near the guy. So
Max Shard is a very surgical type of cross-examiner, and you just saw the best here because a good cross-examiner testifies, right? And he testified to all the facts, and YSL Obama was just saying yes, no, yes, no, yes.
And that's the key to good cross-examination. You're providing the substance and getting the acknowledgement, hopefully in one word, from the witness. So it's good. It's good stuff. So we'll see what happens. We have Marissa. What's I always get her last name confused. Viterini.
Viverito is coming on.
Viverito. Yes, she'll be on tomorrow. They'll meet at 8:45 to just go through one last chunk of. There were 54 exhibits. I think somebody else I think may have caught me on that number. I thought I heard the judge say, okay, 54. Maybe they had 2 more. So that'd be 56. That's a lot of exhibits. So I don't know if she's the rest of the week, 2 days. That's possible. But we're going to check in with Dougie tomorrow and see if he'll give us an update.
And then the question becomes, Michael Bryan, do they present a case? Does the defense present a case here? It's an interesting issue. I'm always of the belief that the defense should present a case of some matter, even if it's rap lyric musicologist, right? Or something.
Yeah.
On the basis that when the jury, and I'm going to give you a little insight here for all those watching, when the jury goes into that jury room and they have to have that little tidbit to argue against the person who may be against you, that tidbit you want to come from the case that you presented so that they can grab hold of it and they can use it to argue against the person who may be arguing with you a little bit
Yeah.
on the prosecution side.
And it's a horrible feeling to not put on a case or severely limit your case and then sit back and wonder what if, when a conviction comes down, what if we'd done this? There's always a lot of what if, but to think, maybe we should have done the gang expert, the defense gang expert. Maybe we should have done the lyricist, defense expert. That's why they get the big money. That's why they stress and stay up at night. The attorneys in cases.
And then maybe they'll have somebody to tell us, because I did pronounce the watch, the $500,000 watch, wrong. It's
Oh, you did?
Richard. It's Richard. I'm sorry, it's Richard.
Oh, Richard. Oh,
Yeah.
that. See, if you had pronounced it right,
Richard
then I
Millet.
would have known exactly what you were talking about. The Richard. Yes. I got a couple of them in my closet. I'll get
I
one.
think this case has driven me batty, and I'm not even trying.
It's a short drive, though. That's the key.
No,
Okay.
even my pod partner won't stand up for me, but I'll get you off when you commit murder. I'll get him off.
Okay. Yeah, you make it sound like you're going to have to do that at some point.
Maybe he kills me. You killed me. All right. Well, anyhow, we won't go there. We love all of you coming here.
Appreciate it. Yes, we do.
And Michael Bryan is going to be back in New York City tomorrow.
Yep.
He will be surviving New York City. He's scared of New York. I don't get it.
I'm not scared of New York. I've been in New York so many times. Used to go in daily.
Good.
No,
I'm glad. But you're the Daniel Penny case. You are our eyes, our ears, our camera.
And we just can't wait for some of the testimony, like the medical examiner, because we did a little interview with Joseph Scott Morgan, which will come to you soon. But, we're all kind of waiting for that medical examiner testimony, because if we hear about a crushed larynx and other things like that, it's not going to be good for Mr. Penny. That's for sure. Okay, so what else is going on? We're going to do something.
We're going to be on tomorrow night at 7 and Friday night, likely at 7. We're going to try to get Doug.
Okay.
And then Friday night, we may have a special show with another podcaster, but we won't say that yet.
Oh, yeah,
confirmed.
I can't keep up.
All
right.
Neither can my husband, who's like, are you ever going to be able to have dinner?
No.
The answer is no.
No.
Okay.
No. All right. Well, in the meantime, I'm Michael Bryant. Try to do the right thing.
And I am Linda Kenny Baden. We are Justice Served TV. We ask you to subscribe, like, share, comment, and you'll get a notification.